I've received requests from another number of clubs over the last few years to produce a winners versus winners and losers versus losers draw, so I finally done something about it. And I prepared this YouTube video to show you how to use it, because it is just a little bit tricky when you're not used to it. The first thing we need to do is open the file from your computer. When you open it, you can have up to 42 teams playing up to 8 rounds. We'll assume that we've only got 24 teams in this one, so you click on 24, and we'll say, let's say that it's over 5 rounds, so we click on 5. Now, as you can see, there is no draw for the rounds 2, 3, 4 and 5. Obviously we can't, because we don't know the winners and the losers from the previous round, so we can only have the draw for the first round as shown here. Before you start putting in the scores for the first round, it's a good idea to click on this rink button here, and that puts the rinks in order together. Makes it a lot easier entering the cards. When I run a tournament, I always ask the players to bring both cards from each rink in together. When you enter the score, let's say it's 20 to 10, you'll see that this box here goes red, and it shows you that there's the columns don't balance, obviously. And when you put the corresponding score in, you go green. So as you're entering the tournament results in, it's a very good idea to check that this box is green after you put the scores from one rink, the 2 scores from one rink in. Excuse me. To save a lot of time, I've already got some scores set up. Excuse me. Which we'll just copy and paste into the sheet. Okay, now after you've got all the scores in for the previous round, in this case round 1, we click on the draw button here, and that sets up the draw for round 2. As you can see in round 1, Team 18 was the highest ranked with a margin of 20 and a win. 17 was next, margin of 19, 16 was next, as you can see, all the way down. They're the winners, all those teams are the winners, and these are the losers. Okay, so we want 17 and 18 to play together in the next round, which they do. You can see 17's playing 18. You want 13 and 16, you can see they are. Now, unfortunately, this is where you have to do a little bit of work. I can't nominate the rinks because I don't know what rinks they've played on previously. So it's just a matter of looking over here, and you see that those 2 teams played on rinks 11 and 12 in the first round. So we can put these on, say, rink 1 in the second round. They played on 10 and 9, so we'll put them on 2. And 2. They played on 8 and 6, so they can have 3. They played on 5 and 4, so they can't have 4. We'll give them 6. 3 and 13, they can have 4. 2 and 1, so they can have 5. So far we've used up rinks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So now that's green 1 finished, so now we go to green 2, starting with rink 8. They played on 1 and 13, so they can have 8. They played on 2 and 3, so they can have 9. They played on 4 and 5, so they can have 10. They played on 6 and 8, so they can have 11. They played on 9 and 10, so they can have 12. And they played on 11 and 12, so they can have 13. Okay. So now we want to print the cards for round 2. To do that, we just click on print. I mean, obviously you can handwrite them from here if you want to, using that information. But if you want to use the print facility, which I would, it only takes a couple of minutes to print the cards. So we click on print, and the cards will now start printing with all this draw information on them. Just be aware that for each print, every time you press the print button, you have to have 42 cards in your printer, because the printer will print 42 cards, but it will only put information on the cards that it needs to. In this case, 24 cards. The rest of the cards will come through blank, and obviously you can use them for the next round. Okay, so we've got the Basically, after you've got the scores in for each round, it only takes you about 5 minutes to have the cards ready to go again, ready for the next game. So we'll put in the scores for the second game, just to save us time. I'll copy and paste them. Okay, so once again, to get the draw for the third round, after all the scores are in here, we click on draw. As you can see, Team 9 and Team 2 were the highest rated in the second round, so they're going to play each other. Again, we have to go through all the way through putting the rink numbers in. They played on 9 and 10 in the first round, so we can put them 1. The next lot can go on 2 because they played on 8 and 6. The next can go on 3 because they played on 5 and 4. They can go on 4 because they played on 3 and 2. They can go on 5 because they played on 1 and 13, and so on. Okay, so it's just a matter of putting your scores in, like in this case, putting your scores in. After they're all in, press on the draw button. It'll give you the draw for the second round. Then you manually put the rink numbers in, like I showed you. Second round, put the scores in. After all the scores are in, or you can, obviously after you've got this information here done, you press on the print button to print your cards, and then after the scores start coming in, it's the same deal again. Just press on the draw button for the third round. You'll get your draw. Put in your rink numbers. Press on the print button to get your cards, and so you go. At any time, you can click on the sort button over here to get the rankings in order, and you can click over here to get the teams back in order. Okay, so I hope that helps. If you need to get in touch with me, it's 02 4389 1138, or Geoff, Geoff, J Graham, Graham @gmail.com. All the best.